Hello and welcome back to the Three-Handed Bandits channel. It's Nathan back with another video for you today. And today we're going to be talking about last night's Thursday night football game, Lions versus Chiefs, the season opener. I kind of give you some of my thoughts on the game, kind of explain what happened, and kind of talk about how I feel about each of these teams post this game. Before we get into that though, please go ahead and like and subscribe and share this video with somebody that you care about. I got the play-by-play kind of pulled up on my other monitor, kind of helping give easier kind of flow to this. But the game started off a little bit slow. The first two drives, they both kind of stalled pretty quickly, but then they both came back down and scored a touchdown each to make it 7-7. Obviously, Dan Campbell, it's going to be talked about how he went, fake punt, 4th and 2 inside his own 20-yard line. Was ballsy and it paid off. Had that not worked, he would have looked like a complete idiot. But since it did work and obviously led to a touchdown, it's a great idea. But early into the game, neither offense, for teams that have well-coached offenses and good offensive coordinators, I thought that the designed offense on the first couple of plays would have gone a little bit better for each team. But things started off pretty slow for Detroit. They scored that touchdown on the second drive, but besides that, they were not moving the ball that efficiently. And the Chiefs, the first couple of drives, obviously they 3'd and out installed on that first drive, but they scored 2 touchdowns pretty early. And after they scored that second touchdown, at least to me, it really felt like that the Chiefs were going to begin to pull away and really take this game by the reins and really win this game comfortably. For me, I had a prediction of 27-20 for the Chiefs winning. And I honestly feel like we were on a pretty good pace for that early on. But then things really kind of started to stall out for both teams. But yeah, when the Chiefs had that touchdown right at the end of the first half, it really did feel like to me that when they got the ball back to start the second half, they're going to go down and win, pull away to a 21-7 lead. But obviously that didn't happen, and Kadarius Toney butterfingers dropped an easy catch, and that led to a Brian Branch pick six that really broke this game open, and I think gave the Lions a lot of momentum and let them feel a lot more confident coming into this game. And after some more stalling out from the Lions, the Chiefs got a couple more field goals, but then the Lions went down, had another long drive to actually take the lead of this game. But even after that happened, I still had a feeling that the Chiefs were going to come in and win this game. Just with Patrick Mahomes, it just felt inevitable. But then they stalled out, and then the Lions got the ball and went for it, on 4th and short at the 50-yard line. I was watching this game with my family, and they were really confused on why you would do that. And to me, I understand the logic behind it. I don't necessarily know if I'd do the same thing myself. But, with 2 minutes left, if you give Mahomes the ball, there's a good chance that he's going to go down the field and score. So might as well try to win the game on offense. Don't play passively. Go out there, try to win the game. Now, they didn't convert the 4th and down or the 4th and short. And the Chiefs got the ball at midfield and penalty, couple mistakes, and, they end up losing the game. But I understand the decision. I think since it worked out for him, Dan Campbell is not going to be criticized. Had it have happened, he definitely would have gotten some more criticism, like the 4th and short very early in the game. But overall, this game went fairly how I expected outside some struggles from Kansas City. So me and Aiden in our last video, we did some of our player props. We had David Montgomery over on rushing yards. We had the Chiefs under 2 sacks. We had Mahomes over like 20 rushing yards, and we had Sky Moore under whatever his receiving line was. And all 4 of those hit. We did really well in our player props. And to me, it just made a lot of sense, that those were going to hit. And we'll talk about the Lions side of the ball first. They didn't really do anything to surprise me. As I said, I expected them to score 20 points. They scored 21. And, I feel like I had a very good idea of what this team was going to look like. Had David Montgomery, I was telling people that Jahmyr Gibbs is a good running back. And, spending a first-round pick on him was kind of silly. But he's going to be a good player right away. However, they bring in David Montgomery, who's going to be the primary ball carrier for this team, which he was. And he produced at a good level last night. He was a good player, good running back. And so that's why I was so critical of why they spent that first round pick on Jahmyr Gibbs. And David Montgomery was a really good running back. As I said, I felt comfortable, hitting his over because he was going to be the primary ball carrier and really do a lot of tough sledding and a lot of the hard, dirty work for this team. And so his line at like 56 to me felt too low. I felt like he was going to get a lot of touches and really be the dominant ball carrier in that backfield. But then, even then, with the rest of the offense, without Amon-Ra St. Brown, this really did not feel like a very explosive vertical passing game. Josh Reynolds and Marvin Jones are fine players at this point in their career, but they're not conducive to an explosive passing game. With no Jamison Williams, they really can't get vertical like I feel like they have the potential to do. This offensive line was pretty good, though. Obviously, they only allowed the one sack, and they blocked at a pretty good level in the running game. So the offense was kind of as expected, and then the defense really wasn't that great. Now, obviously, they won the game. They got the pick six, uh, but I really don't feel like the Lions won this game on defense. I feel like the Chiefs really struggled and shot themselves in the foot on offense. So I do feel like the Chiefs were able to move the ball pretty efficiently at times, and it really seemed like they were going to go down to win the game. Sometimes, in order to be a good team, though, you do have to win, squeak out some of these flukier games. And I think they did that. But overall, how does this game kind of impact how I feel about this Lions team? It doesn't. It really does not affect anything. They're kind of exactly what I thought they were going to be. They are who we thought they were. And, I had them ranked at the 11th spot in our preseason power rankings, and I just don't imagine that is going to change at all. They're still a good team, but I don't think they deserve to win this game. And now, when you talk about the Chiefs, obviously Patrick Mahomes was great, played as good as he could. But where this team was really let down was the playmaking from the receivers. So not only, as I said, with Sky Moore as a player who I don't think is very talented, he didn't produce at all for how long he was out there. Kadarius Toney really, really cost this team that game. In a team game, you can't necessarily blame one person. You can blame Kadarius Toney. He really, really held this offense back and was part of the reason they struggled so much. Not only if you put any other wide receiver in that position, is it not a Brian Branch pick six? He had a couple other drops and just overall was not a great player. He was a complete liability. And that's the thing with Kadarius Toney. He's always been a real hit or miss player, but he's not a great receiver. When he gets the ball in his hands, he can produce very well and is great after the catch. The struggle is getting the ball into his hands. And that was a big struggle for the Chiefs team. That's part of the reason why they struggled. But any team without their number one wide receiver, the passing offense is going to slow down a little bit. How much it did slow down, though, I think is conducive just to how little talent is kind of on this offense, especially in the receiver position. I think we do feel pretty good about Justin Watson. I feel like he had a pretty good game, but no one else was great. Rashee Rice was out there and obviously scored the touchdown, but I really didn't feel like I noticed him all that much. And so outside of Kelsey, you just don't have any solid, proven NFL options, and that's really what I think could end up, being a shortcoming for this team this season. I imagine, Travis Kelsey will get healthy, and this offense will start kind of get things rolling and win a couple of games. But for a team that has good offensive linemen and some okay running backs, they're really a poor rushing team, which I also think in a game like this where they're down weapons and making a lot of mistakes, like the Jerick McKinnon drop on that 3rd and 2 when Mahomes had a guy at his leg, or the Sky Moore drop or the Kadarius Toney drop that led to the pick. Like, I think if they're a team that ran the ball a little bit better, that definitely could have helped them still win this game. But I still do think that this is one of the top 5 best teams in the NFL. When you have Patrick Mahomes, you're going to be in every game. And I think had they just not made so much mental mistakes, they still would have won this game. Even when it was 4th and 25, I still had a sliver of hope that somehow the Chiefs were going to go and convert this and win the game. So overall, this game doesn't truly affect how I feel about either team. The Lions, as I said, I think it was a bit of a fluky win. They did a good job of going in Kansas City and winning a tough game, but I don't think they did necessarily anything to truly impress me. And for the Chiefs, without two of their top three players, still played pretty valiantly. This defense was still pretty good. And I think just the receiving game struggled because, with no Kelsey, uh, they had to rely a lot on these other players who aren't great. So when Kelsey comes back, I do imagine the offense will pick things up. I still feel pretty good about this defense. So overall, when we kind of recap and talk about everything, I think we had some good analysis in our game. We went 4-4 on our prop bets with the Sky Moore under, the David Montgomery over, the Patrick Mahomes over on rushing yards, and under on the Kansas City sacks at 2. Like, we had pretty good analysis on what was going to happen. Obviously, we both thought the Chiefs were going to win, but if we look at this game, I do feel like they were the better team. They just shot themselves in the foot. So overall, as I said, does not affect how I feel about either of these teams heading forward into the year. I am going to go ahead and name a player of the game. And I don't have access to the all 22, so I can't fully look at some stuff. Uh, there's a couple honorable mentions. Obviously, I feel like you do have to give one to Patrick Mahomes, who did an excellent job in really carrying this Chiefs offense. Um, on the Lions, I feel like Jared Goff played a pretty decent game. He wasn't perfect. Amon Ra had a pretty good game as well. Brian Branch on defense had the game tying interception, pick six. Aiden Hutchinson did a pretty decent job of getting after Patrick Mahomes. But the player of the game that I'm actually going to name is David Montgomery. He did a really good job of being a tough runner. Produced pretty well when I think a lot of people weren't really expecting much from him. And obviously, that touchdown, he showed good vision, good contact balance to bounce off some people and to find his way into the end zone. So I think he was really important to this team's success. And it's going to be an underrated report of it. A lot of people are going to talk about Amon Ra or Aiden Hutchinson or this offensive line that was really good in this game. But I think David Montgomery does still need a lot of credit for being a good running back. And I'm going to give him my first game ball of the year. But overall, people that watch this game, kind of let me know what you thought. What were your takeaways from the game? And how do you feel about both of these teams going forward, heading into the rest of the year? If you stuck around for this long, please go ahead and like this video, and we'll be back very soon with some more content for you. But overall, thanks for watching, guys.